Hello, sweet faces. Welcome to the box division homework review. If you are looking for traditional, please hop over to the next video. If this is what you are looking for, then here we go. I am trying to keep these videos a little bit shorter. I know they can be a little bit lengthy, so I have all of the problems set up and ready to go. So I know that 12 does not divide into 1. I show that by putting a 0 at the top. 0 times 12 is 0. 1 take away 0 is 1. Slide it up. 12 goes into 16 one time. 1 times 12 is 12. 16 take away 12 is 4. Slide it next door. 12 goes into 48 4 times, which leaves me with no remainders. The first one, the answer is 14. Sliding right along, 14 does not go into 1. I show it with a 0. 0 times 14 is 0. 1 take away 0 is 1. Slide it next door. 14 goes into 15 one time. 1 times 14 is 14. 15 take away 14 is 1. Bring it up. 14 goes into 14 one time with no remainder. If at any point you need to pause this or rewatch this, please do so. 11 does not go into 1. But it does go into 18 one time. 1 times 11 is 11. 18 take away 11 is 7. Bring it next door. 11 goes into 77 7 times exactly, leaving us with no remainder. My answer is 17. 11 does not go into 1. We're going to see this a lot with these larger problems. But 11 does go into 16 one time. 1 times 11 is 11. 16 take away 11 is 5. Slide it next door. 11 goes into 55 5 times. 5 times 11 is 55. No remainder. My answer is 15. Again, we're going to see these in pretty much every single one of these because we have 2-digit divisors and we are dividing into 1 digit at a time. Now I say almost all of these because on one of our pages, I did give you a little bit of a break and it does have a 1-digit divisor. All the rest we're going to start off with is 0 in the first place. 18 goes into 21 one time. 21 take away 18 is 3. Slide it next door. 18 goes into 36 2 times. 2 times 18 is 36 on the nose. My answer is 12 with no remainder. 14 into 196. Again, we know that because we have a 2-digit divisor, we're going to be doing that on each one. 14 goes into 19 one time. 1 times 14 is 14. 19 take away 14 is 5. Slide it next door. 14 goes into 56 4 times, which is actually 56 on the nose. No remainder. My answer is 14. That brings us to the end of page 1. If that is as far as you've gone, please go ahead and stop the recording. If you are ready for page number 2, then hang tight because here we go. Now, if you watched the last recording, I told you that we were going to have one of these that was going to have a 1-digit divisor, but it's still going to follow the box rule because 4 doesn't go into 1. So we're still starting off the same as we've started off our other ones, but now we can do some work. 4 goes into 18 4 times because 4 times 4 is 16. Leaves us with 2, sliding over. 4 goes into 21. The closest we can get is 5. Subtracting 20. 21 take away 20 is 1. Sliding. 4 goes into 12 3 times. Exactly. No remainders. The answer for this one is 453. Zooming in a little bit there. Make sure we're still on our screen. Perfect. We know how to start with our 2-digit divisors. All right, 15 goes into 19 one time. When we do 19, take away 15, we get 4. Slide it next door. 15 goes into 45 3 times exactly with no remainder. My answer for this one is 13. We know what to do with a 2-digit divisor. 13 goes into 18 one time. When we subtract, we get 5. Bring it next door. actually going to go in evenly 4 times. 4 times 13 is 52. My answer for this one is 14, no remainder. We know what to do. All right, 12 is going to go into 22 one time. That's the closest we can get. When we subtract, we get 10, but 10 is smaller than 8, which means we are on the right track. We're going to bring the whole 10 next door. 12 goes into 108 9 times with no remainder. I know that was a little strange to bring a 10 aside. We're not used to bringing a number that big, but our problems are getting bigger, and so is our brain. Now this one, you're going to have 25 on your page. 25 does not go into 7, but it does go into 77. Think about quarters. If I have 3 quarters, I have 75 cents. If I have 1 quarter, I have 25 cents. This goes in 31 times with no remainder. Last one for this page, 1,450. We're dividing in 32. We have some work to do because look, 32 does not go into 14. We have to keep going with this one. So we're going to put another 0 and we're going to bring that 14 next door. We had to use guess and check with this one. 4 is the closest that we can get, which is 128. When we subtract that from 145, we're left with 17. Yes, we're bringing the whole 17 next door. The closest that we can get this time is 32 times 5, which gives us 160. This leaves us with our first remainder, which is 10. The answer is 45 with a remainder of 10. This brings us to the end of our our second page. Go ahead and stop here if that's as far as you've gotten. If you're ready for page 3, hang tight, because here we go. All right, loves, we're starting to get into remainders. We're using bigger numbers, so be careful. 62 does not go into 3. 62 does not go into 31. It does go into 318. The closest that we can get is 5 times, which gives us 310. When I subtract, I have 8. I bring it next door. The closest that I can get this time is 1 time. When I subtract my 62, I'm left with 24. I know it's big, but it's smaller than our divisor. Our remainder is 24. 18 going into 648. It does not go into 6, but it does go into 64. The closest that we can get is 3 times. When we multiply that, that leaves us with 10. 10 feels big, but it's smaller than 18, so it's okay. 18 is actually going to go in evenly 6 times, leaving us with no remainder. Our answer is 36. All right, loves, our numbers are getting big. This one was bonkers, but we have been working really hard on stretching ourselves, even when it's a little bit uncomfortable. So 73 did not go into 5. It did not even go into 58. But it did go into 584. We had to use guess and check with this, right? We don't know our 73 times tables, and that's expected. Now, this does go in 8 times with no remainder. If that was super sticky for you, that's okay. These are meant to be really stretchy as we get further through our pages, because not everyone gets this far in their practice. And I really wanted to make sure that my friends that were brave enough to practice to this level, that they really were stretching. So 51 does not go into 1. It does not go into 18, but it does go into 183, and it goes in 3 times. 3 times 51 is 150. You can use your 50s to skip count to kind of get an idea of an estimate. When we subtract, we're left with 3. I bring it next door. We are left with 33. So 51, the closest that we can get to 331 is 5, which gives us 255. When we subtract that from 331, we are left with I think my brain is getting tired, kiddos. I apologize. It's going to give us a remainder of 46. All right, labs, this one is 35 with a remainder of 46. If you have any questions, please bring them to class. We have 2 more on this side. We are almost done. So 57 does not go into 8. It does go into 85 one time when I subtract 57 from 85. I'm left with 28. I bring it next door. I know it feels big, but I promise it does work. It is going to go in 5 times, which gives us 285, 15 with a remainder of 3. Last one for this page, 2,964. We're dividing in 82. Yes, that is big. It doesn't go into 2. It doesn't go into 29. It does go into 296 3 times. That gives us 246. When we subtract that, we're left with 50. We bring it next door. 82 goes into 504. The closest we can get is 6, which gives us 492. When we subtract that, we are left with 12. Our answer is 36 with a remainder of 12. That brings us to the end of page number 3. If you have any questions, please bring them with you to class. All right, loves, let's dive into page 4. We are almost there. Almost there. 892 divided by 26. This one does have a remainder. 26 does not go into 8. It does go into 89. It's going to go in 3 times, which gives us 78. When we subtract that, we're left with 11. We bring 11 next door. That gives us 112. The closest that we can get this time is 4, which is 104. And when we subtract that, we're left with 8. Our answer is 34 with a remainder of 8. 48 does not go into 1. It does not go into 10. It does go into 105, and it's going to go in 2 times. That's going to leave us with 96. When we subtract that, that gives us 9. We're noticing that if we do it 2 more times, we have nothing left over. This one divides in evenly 22 times. All right, this time we are dividing with 67. We're dividing it into 2,950. It does not go into 2. It does not go into 29. But it does go into 295. The closest we can get is 4 times. When I subtract that, 268, I get 27, which feels big, but it is smaller than the number we're dividing by. 67 goes into 270. The closest we can get, again, is 4. When we subtract 268, we're left with 2 as our remainder. Our answer is 44 with a remainder of 2. Last one for this page, we are doing 78 into 946. It does not go into 9, but it does go into 94 one time. When we subtract 78 from 94, we have 16. Bring it next door. 78 times 2 is going to be the closest we can get, which is 156. This leaves us with a remainder of 10. Our answer is 12, remainder of 10. We have one more page, mathletes. If you got this far, we are going to jump right in. So this is page number 5. We are dividing 18 into 412. 18 does not go into 4, but it does go into 41 2 times. 2 times 18 is 36. When I subtract that from 41, I get 5. I bring it next door. 18 goes into 52. The closest I can get is 2, which gives me 36. When I subtract, I'm left with 16, which feels big, but it's smaller than what we're dividing by. Our answer is 22 with a remainder of 16. 87 does not go into 8, but it does go into 87 one time. 87 does not go into 1, but we are in the middle of a problem. We have to show that we tried. When we do that, we're left with a remainder of 1. 10 with a remainder of 1. All right, loves, 34. We're dividing 34 into 1,544. 34 is not going to go into 1. It is not even going to go into 15. But it will go into 154. The closest that we can get is 4 times. 4 times 34 is 136. When we subtract that from 154, we're left with 18, which we bring next door. The closest that we can get this time is going to be 5, which gives us 170. When we subtract, we're left with 14. Our answer is 45 with a remainder of 14. 52. Use your skip counting skills. 52 is very close to 50. I can use that as an estimate. We know that it's not going to divide into 2. It's not even going to divide into 25, but it will divide into 254. The closest that I can get is 4 times, thinking 4 times 50 is 200. 4 times 52 is 208. When I subtract that from 254, I get 46. Feels big, but it is smaller than 52. Slide it next door. Closest we can get this time is going to be 9 times. That goes in evenly. Our answer is 49 with no remainder. 2 more, love bugs. We are almost done here. 83 does not go into 2. It does not go into 27. It will go into 274, and it's going to go in 3 times. That's the closest we can get, and that's going to give us 249. When I subtract that from 274, I'm left with 25. Bring it next door. Notice we can use this again. When I could do that, I have a remainder of 133, remainder of 1. Last one, we're dividing 66 into 4,135. It is going to be not into 4, not even into 41. But it will go into 413. The closest that I can get is 6 times. That's 396. When I subtract that from 413, I'm left with 17, which I bring next door. The closest I can get this time is going to be 2. 66 times 2 gives me 100. Oh, that's a 2. 132. When I subtract that from 175, I'm left with 43. That is my remainder, 62, remainder of 43. Again, it feels big, but we're dividing by a number that's larger. If you have any questions, love bugs, please bring them with you to class. Have a great weekend.